What if your worst nightmare comes true? What if you actually reach the pinnacle of success and then lose everything? Let me tell you something that happened to me 13 years ago. I lost everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. And here's the thing about losing your money. It's one thing to not have a lot of money and then lose that. It's another to be a super successful six-figure earner and then lose all of that, including my mind. Because when you're bougie and broke, then you become broke and broken. It is a different type of excruciating pain. So today I want to share with you the 3 things that I learned after I lost everything. And those things are happiness, gratitude, and health. So let's go ahead and start with what I learned about happiness after losing everything. I wasn't that happy. And here's the thing about happiness. We don't really know what that means. And I remember talking to a super successful lawyer a couple of years ago, and she said, I think that happiness is a moment. Now, after getting everything back and getting my mind right and lining myself with the things that I want, happiness is always available to you, and happiness is a lifestyle. And I mean like the childlike happiness and the childlike faith. So if you think about kids being miserable for a long period of time, we would think that something was wrong with them. If you think about, my nephew is 2. Now he has a little attitude sometimes, but for the most part, he's a happy kid. And if he was miserable all day for a day, my brother would think that something was wrong with the baby. The next day, a week of him never smiling and never laughing and just being miserable, they would take him to the doctor. And the doctor would say, there's nothing wrong with this kid. They've examined him. They've ran the test. They've done the blood work, and they've done everything to be able to figure out what does he have. And what if the doctor came back and said, well, he has an early onset of adulthood? Would they really accept that, or would they say, no, not my kid. I'm going to buy him things or tickle him or give him his favorite food or give him his favorite snacks. I'm going to figure out what's wrong with my baby because I don't want him to be a miserable baby. Now, here's the thing. When did it become an acceptable state of beingness for us to be miserable for years on end and nobody ever challenged it? In fact, people support it, and it's normal to be a miserable adult. It is normal to be a miserable leader. I mean, leadership is tough. If you want to pick up the mantle to be a leader, I pray for you, because we already know that it's not a popularity contest, but it is hard. Tal Ben-Shahar wrote a book called Happier, and he was a Harvard researcher, and he taught a class on happiness. So he had a 4-part model for what happiness means. The first model we want to talk about is the rat racer. The rat racer is typically somebody who lives in a present detriment for a future benefit. Rat racers are people who work, well, we used to think you could work 40 years and then retire. So the 40 years that you work, you are absolutely miserable. Year after year after year. Gallup reports that over 80% of people around the world dislike their jobs. So most people in the world are rat racers. A rat racer will give up the best parts of their years to then live the better part of their latter years. And as you know, a lot of us don't make it. And sometimes we're too sick to even enjoy the retirement. I mean, y'all, we see this again and again and again. The wheelchair line at Southwest is off the chain, and these are the people who are finally ready to live their lives after they've retired. But we spent the better part of our adulthood chasing security or chasing this illusion of being free when we could potentially have that in the moment. So again, a rat racer is someone who lives in a present detriment for a future benefit. A hedonist is someone who lives in a present benefit for a future detriment. That would be somebody like Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff was getting paid his money. He was living it up. Now, the future detriment was it didn't really go that well for him. So anybody that you see that's doing things for a present benefit, whether it's good or bad, but then it becomes a future detriment, that is what a hedonist is. A nihilist is someone who lives in a present detriment for a future detriment. These are people, I would say, like a prostitute. Like the stuff that you're doing today ain't that good, girl. And then you're doing it tomorrow, it's not going to be that good. So people who do things for a present detriment and a future detriment is a nihilist. Now, the happiness model is the things that you do today for a present benefit also have a future benefit. Very few people live in the happiness model. Now, here's the thing. If you're a rat racer, cool. Even entrepreneurs are rat racers because entrepreneurs will give up everything. Don't let these Instagram people lie and tell you that you can get rich selling an ebook and make $100,000 a month. It's not true. But if you have to be a rat racer, what can you do in the present moment to offset some of the unhappiness? What can you do in the present moment to offset some of the misery? And here's the thing. Entrepreneurship is tough. You have to be a special kind of crazy to be an entrepreneur. Even the people who are out in Silicon Valley, they always make it seem like they're all making millions and millions of dollars. But the suicide rate in Silicon Valley is off the charts. They don't even talk about it with regards to the founders and how much money they're making and they're being pushed to make for these companies. So if you're miserable in this present moment because you're chasing a future benefit, what are some of the things that you can do that bring you joy? What are some of the things that you can do that's going to make that worth it in the end? So when I read this book, I was still in my career at the time, and I was just miserable. And I didn't know until I read the definition of happiness. I was like, oh my God, I'm miserable. This sucks. So I like to talk to young kids. So I would go to the high school. Granted, I would be at my desk at 11 o'clock at night because I went to go spend some time with them. But I would go and I would speak to the young kids and inspire them to be greater. That brought me tremendous joy. And I would talk to the people who worked with me and I would mentor all of these people. And that became great. But what gave me a huge boost in knowing that what I was doing was worth it, I went and talked to and inspired young kids to be better. Now, what's your thing? Do you love to bake? Do you love to write poetry? Do you want to write a book? Do you like to swim in the ocean with the dolphins? Do you want to swim with the sharks? What is your artistic expression and what do you love to do? And I encourage you to tap into that more as you're going along your journey of life and choose to be happier in the moment, because this moment is all we have. Number 2, I was not healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. What else we got? I was a workaholic and I would do anything and everything to jump over a barrier, kick walls in, kick doors open, all these things. I was sick. I couldn't believe it. But I never slowed down to take care of myself. I didn't have time to work out. I didn't have time to meditate. I didn't have time to go to yoga retreats. I didn't have time to relax. I didn't have time to go on these quests to be happy. Who has time for that? I'm trying to win. and it's insane to hear it coming out of my mouth today, but I know a lot of y'all are doing it. We don't have time to do anything other than go for our next goal, go for the next degree, go for the next certification, go for the next award. And we're giving up the best parts of who we are. We're giving up the things that we were given free at birth. We're giving up the ability to have peace and joy and harmony and mental health and our physical health and our emotional health and our spiritual health. We're giving all these things up. For what? To win what? I think is the question. Like, what are we really doing here? And so, but you can tell me that in a moment. I'm chasing it. I'm going for it. I was addicted to doing and enduring. We are conditioned to endure. I expected disrespect when I went to work. I expected to fight somebody. I expected to cuss somebody out. I mean, like, how is that a normal, acceptable way to live, to expect HELL when I go to work, when I should have just went to work to do my job? And here's the thing. I thought that when I was younger that I would work and I would get all of these things and get all of these awards and prove all these people wrong. But the fights never ended. In fact, the fights became pettier. And so I got caught in this cycle of working to prove people wrong harder and harder and harder, and stopped working out, and I stopped taking care of myself, and I started eating greasy, cheesy food because I'm stressed out. And then stressed out people don't crave apples and bananas. Stressed out people crave cheesy, greasy. And so now I'm gaining weight, and now I'm tired, and now I'm too tired to work out. I'm too tired to take care of myself. I'm too tired to do anything healthy, except for I'm not too tired to work 80 hours a week. So I got caught in this toxic cycle that I created, and had the nerve to blame them for what they were doing to me, but I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing to myself. So once I fell apart and I lost everything, pretty much in my southern accent, the chickens had come to roost. I fell apart. I had over 20 medical conditions. I was 37. Mentally, I burned down my mental health down to 2 atoms. I collapsed mentally in stage 12 burnout. Emotionally, I was a wreck. Like, who wants to date somebody who's a hot mess? Spiritually, empty. And so once I fell apart and once I lost everything, and I had an opportunity to look in the mirror and tell the truth, I wasn't doing that good, and I wasn't working as hard on myself as I was on my job, as Jim Rome says. And so Napoleon Hill has a quote where he says, if I had the courage to look in the mirror and see myself as I truly am, then I will find out what is wrong with me and fix it, as opposed to building alibis to cover my misfortunes. If I had the courage to look in the mirror and tell the truth, if I had the courage to look in the mirror and tell the truth about how I really am, not who I'm pretending to be, not what my leadership position defined me as, but if I had the courage to look in the mirror and tell the truth, oh my goodness. And high achievers were not necessarily going to do that. We're busy, on to the next thing, on to the next award, on to the next whatever. But I want to encourage you to stop and take inventory of where you are right now so you can fix it, as opposed to building alibis to cover your misfortunes. And so we have so much mental dis-ease in the world right now. We have so many people who are falling apart mentally and physically, and they're not slowing down enough to take care of themselves, and they're working in these toxic jobs, and they're afraid to leave, and they're losing themselves in the pursuit of entrepreneurship. I mean, if you just slowed down long enough and told the truth, then you can fix it, as opposed to building alibis to cover your misfortunes. So 3 habits that, if I can get my clients to do it, which we typically do, if you do these 3 things, it will significantly change your life. Number 1, meditate 3 times a week for 5 minutes. Look, it's 5 minutes. And I recommend a guided meditation. You can find a gazillion of them on YouTube, but you want to slow down and come back to yourself. You want to slow your mind down a little bit so you can be able to unpack some of the things that you're carrying around. You want to be able to catch your breath. Just 3 times a week for 5 minutes. And notice I didn't say 7 times a week for an hour. I didn't say 5 times a week. Because what high achievers do, we go overboard. And if we don't hit the mark 7 times a week for an hour, we quit and we give up. But if you can just instill this small little habit 3 times a week for 5 minutes, I guarantee you it will significantly change your life for the best. The second habit is work out for 30 minutes 3 times a week. Whether you're walking, you're doing weights, you're doing Zumba, you're doing Peloton, whatever you got to do, work out and get your body moving. And the last thing is sleep 3 nights a week for 8 hours. Now, I know a lot of people say, I don't need that much sleep. Well, actually, you do. And so many people have normalized sleeping when I'm dead. I'll sleep when I'm dead and I'll do all these other kind of things. But they don't understand how this affects their mood until they actually get some sleep. So if you will give yourself permission to take this little bit of time during the week to take care of yourself, I, all caps, guarantee you it will change your life for the best. I have pulled over 200 women off the brink of critical and advanced burnout with just these 3 things. Now, we probably do another 100 things, but if I can get them to do the 3 easy things, we can do the other things that are considered to be harder. The 3 easy things are typically the hardest thing because leaders are conditioned, again, to endure and to push through. But we've reached a point in history where we're not able to do that anymore. So I encourage you to take care of yourself and change before life makes you change. And the third thing that I learned, I was not grateful. I was not grateful for anything that I achieved. I just wasn't grateful. I wasn't grateful for the small miracles. I wasn't grateful for the house that I had on the golf course and the car. I had a million cars, y'all. I could buy pretty much the things that I wanted and traveling and doing all these other kind of things. I worked and achieved very high levels of success, but I was never happy with it. I was never grateful for it. I never showed gratitude. Gratitude and just saying thank you for the small things is so easy, but it's so hard. And so in 2009, watching Oprah and Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle and Louise Hay and Dr. Maya Angelou, they talked about gratitude and being grateful for things and writing down 3 things in the morning that I was grateful for. So I would write down things like, I was grateful for that lemon drop martini I had yesterday. Delicious. I couldn't really find anything meaningful to be grateful for. Oh, I'm grateful my empanadas and the nachos were delicious. I'm grateful for that apple martini. I'm grateful for the car that I drive. I'm grateful for, it was all mindless and petty things for 2 years. Now, when I lost everything, including my mind and my money and my material possessions, and I moved in with my brother, I mean, the story is gonna be what it's gonna be. And after the first year, December 31st, I still have these journals. I still didn't have any money. And I was going to be rich. I was supposed to be rich, but I didn't have any money. December 31st, I'm journaling about, okay, well, what I want for the next year. And I'm looking back at the long list of goals that I had that I failed at. And I was just mad. I think I had like $2. So then the next year, we get to December again. I had all of these goals that I wanted to achieve. I didn't get rich yet. I was still in my brother's house. I didn't have any money. And in order to stay there and not just go jump in the waters of Lake Minnetonka and drown myself, I said, okay, Christy, what do you have? If you don't have money and you haven't restored your name yet in these streets, and if you haven't done anything, what do you have? Well, I'm not sick anymore. I had over 20 medical conditions. Okay. Well, you can actually talk and create coherent sentences. I could not do that for a year. When I say burnout is catastrophic, I could not talk and create coherent sentences. I slept for a year. Okay. Well, I can process complex data. I still have all of my teeth. I haven't been to a dentist in a year. Okay. I lost weight because I'm actually stopping long enough to take care of myself and doing Tae Bo on YouTube. Okay. So I got that. I still have all of my hair. I started to get down to like the tiny things of now just being grateful for waking up in the morning, because I've lost friends along the way. And so when I think about now in gratitude, it's just being grateful for waking up. That is a miracle. And we're not even grateful for that. Now, if I wake up and I got all my teeth, it's a fabulous day. Anything after that is on me. So are you grateful for the 6-bedroom house Or are you mad because you want it to be bigger or different or a different kitchen? And you forgot when you were in a 1-bedroom apartment with the used furniture when you first got your job. Are you not grateful for the European car or whatever fancy car that you have, and you don't really remember driving the Toyota with all the engine lights on? What are you grateful for? Are you grateful for the ability to be able to walk into a store and get anything that you want because you have, and the material things that the fruits of your labor have enabled you to purchase? But are you grateful for it? And if not, I want to encourage you to stop long enough to look at where you are right now and start to be grateful for the small things. And maybe the feeling that you're chasing by buying all of these things is gratitude for just the small things. And I know that we get so caught up in social media of looking at what other people have, comparing our lives, I got a southern accent, to their lives. But what I really wanted to say was comparing their lives to our lives. I don't envy anybody online, because we envy all of these people and we're conditioned to look at what other people have, but you don't know what's going on in their house. And then when you see the fallout, people relish in the fallout of when people's marriages or relationships or whatever goes on, but you were just admiring that person and comparing yourself to them 2 years ago. So I encourage you to work on your gratitude and be grateful for the smallest things in life, because the feeling that you're chasing by buying all of these things may just be gratitude. So again, I encourage you to understand and to know, coming back from the brink of the bottom of the abyss after falling off the Grand Canyon, that one, if you're going through challenges right now, this too shall pass. If you're going through something right now, if you learn how to keep your wits about you and focus on the things that you want to make you happy and getting into alignment with that, focus on your mental and your physical health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health, it will come back. And be grateful for the smallest things. God doesn't give you what you want. He gives you what you have room for. How can God bless you with more miracles when you're not thankful for the 100,000 miracles that have shown up in your life all the time? So I hope this information has been useful to you. Like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. And let me know if y'all want me to unpack the other 10 things that I learned after I lost everything. Take care, and we'll see you in the next episode.